recognized symbol of excellence for your entertainment.
What do you think? Sounds like a British new wave band.
Welcome to Machino Music Music, a show that puts the music in Machino music, with your host, me, Brett Strong. Today on Machino Music Music, we'll be talking about bands and artists that jumped on the new wave train in something we're calling When They Went New Wave. Good afternoon, everybody. When They Went New Wave, that's our topic here today. Had this one on the list and off the list and just trying to figure out how am I going to put this one together. But, yeah, we talk a lot about new wave here. And I had this idea, I was talking like when I did my favorite new wave albums and just sort of the other shows I've talked about new wave. Like so many big bands and artists got on the new wave train. Because new wave was like the big thing. Because it wasn't punk. It came out of punk. Post-punk it was also called. So like a rock band could easily kind of make that transition because there's a bit of a pop feel to it, so you could get a big hit. And everybody was doing like these new wave bands were trying to get these big massive hits, all this attention. MTV was big on MTV. A lot of the earliest videos were just like these new wave videos. So a lot of big bands and artists got on the new wave thing. They got on the new wave train. So let's just talk about a few of these when they went new wave, these bands that say, hey, let's give this thing a try. Worked out for a lot of them too. ZZ Top. Just did our ZZ Top album ranking. And this one, I have to mention Eliminator. This was their big breakthrough. This was influenced by new wave. And, you know, I mean, I like this album. Probably my favorite on this whole that I'm going to talk about here. I mean, it's just a fantastic record. But, yeah, this is like ZZ Top saying, hey. And it worked for them. Blew them up. They were big MTV stars because of this record. And, you know, all it took was adding a little bit of synthesizer, a little bit of that new wave sound. And, hey, we got a big hit because new wave had that pop appeal, had that pop crossover. We did a show on Robert Palmer. I mean, I went this one, Robert Palmer Clues. This was him going in that direction. It still has the classic sort of Robert Palmer feel to it, but I mean, like the song Looking for Clues, Johnny and Mary, definitely new wave.
Trying to talk sense to her.
But I mean, for the most part, this album still sounds like your classic Robert Palmer, that kind of like cool, kind of soul, you know, R&B, reggae kind of feel to it. I mean, definitely a song like Woke Up Laughing is definitely kind of very traditional, classic Robert Palmer sounding. But he tried the new wave thing. Not looking new wave, really. Just like, hey, that's Robert Palmer. So yeah, Robert Palmer did it, and this is a great record. One of my favorite Robert Palmer albums. Alice Cooper. Now this guy, he was the big one that did, and he's got four. I'm missing Zipper Catches Skin. It's my least favorite, actually, of the Blackout albums, the new wave albums Alice Cooper did. Of course, we got Flush the Fashion. This was the first one. I mean, it says Alice Cooper 80 on here, so he's telling us, hey, we're in the 80s now, and I'm trying this new thing. And look at him, he even looks new wave here, even though he's whacked out on cocaine. That's what he was. That's what he was looking like, you know. But I mean, this is like a total. I mean, this is so different from like the hard rock, early heavy metal that we knew from Alice Cooper, and then of course what he would do for the rest of the '80s, which is more right in the heavy metal thing. Well, I mean, Talk, Clones Were All, which was like the single off of this, total new wave tune.
We destroyed the government. We're destroying time.
Pain. Still, and that's probably the most classic Alice Cooper. Like, still sounds like classic 70s hard rock Alice Cooper. It's actually probably my favorite Alice Cooper song. I love that song, but it kind of sticks out on this album because it's not really new wave. It's probably the least new. It's still very theatrical, but yeah, it's not. I think it sort of stands out on this album because of that. It's not quite in that direction. Leather Boots. That's a new wave tune. That's kind of a punk tune. Got that feel to it. Yeah. Then he did Special Forces. Yeah. This is definitely going that new wave direction. Who Do You Think We Are? Kicking it off. Definitely a new wave song. Skeletons in the Closet. Definitely has a new wave sound to it. He did a new version of Generation Landslide from $1 Billion Babies as Generation Landslide 81. It's a live version of it. But I mean, so he's kind of updating that tune from like a kind of bombastic kind of 70s rock song into kind of more punkish new wave type tune. Yeah. And this last one he did, the last of the Black Eyed albums, could have been the very last thing we got from him if he had in fact died from just the horrible cocaine addiction that he had. The Dada album, very creepy record. But I mean, if you put on some of the, you wouldn't even believe it's Alice Cooper on some of these tunes. But yeah, really didn't sound like this ever again. And yeah, that was like, and Zipper Catches Skin, the one I don't have a copy of to show. That one, very weird, it's very strange songs on that album. Like what's it? Totally a cocaine album. I mean, like what was he writing about? Writing a song about Zorro, but it's fun. It's still fun, and the Black Eyed albums, for what they are, they're not my favorite Alice Cooper albums, but definitely I think as like new wave albums, definitely some of my favorite new wave records, but not really as Alice Cooper albums. Kind of got to separate because my favorite Alice Cooper is the hard rock, heavy metal Alice Cooper. But yeah, I got to mention those ones. David Bowie got on it there with Let's Dance. I think this is his most new wave. Now, David Bowie's interesting because you could, like, what do you really categorize David Bowie as? Like, I've seen him, like, show up on, like, new wave lists of, like, being, like, one of the earliest pioneers of new wave. Because he, like, what do you call his music? It was so weird, so different. And it definitely was a huge influence on what would become new wave. And so he very easily transitioned and was able to, you know, put out a record like Let's Dance, which fits right in with what was going on in MTV. This is 1983, this record. So it's like right in there. But you couldn't call David Bowie new wave right from the start, because he was just really doing the whole thing. I mean, he was right in there. I mean, his performance on Saturday Night Live doing The Man Who Sold the World. I mean, what? That was like one of the first times you ever saw kind of like new wave music, kind of like this sort of like weird punk rock kind of thing on Saturday Night Live. And, you know, so yeah, he definitely went right at it here. There's great tunes on here. Modern Love, so good. China Girl, great, dig it. Let's Dance was a big, huge one. Yeah. Cat People, one of my favorite David Bowie songs. Love that. Did a show here on punk and new wave movies, and I included Cat People just because it kind of has that kind of vibe to it, the 1982 remake of that movie. And that song is on this record. Yeah. David Bowie. Gotta have that one. How about Alan Parsons Project? This is one of my favorite new wave records. Totally can call this new wave. And again, Alan Parsons, another bit like, what do you even call Alan Parsons? I mean, yeah, they're prog, they're experimental. Definitely call them a progressive rock band, but like some of these, like especially like late 70s, 80s. They started, this another one from 1983, they started going in a new wave direction and kind of stayed there for a bit. And this is a great record. I mean, Don't Answer Me is one of the most underrated ballads. Why you don't hear that on the radio, why that was still a hit we don't hear like all the time today is, I mean, that's just a phenomenal song. Put it on right now, I'm going to start bawling like a baby. It's one of those songs that just hits me in the feels. Hits me in the feels, as the kids like to say. Yeah, dig that song. Pipeline, really cool. Yeah. This is the Alan Parsons New Wave record. They had a couple others. I mean, they kind of went like Pyramid, kind of went in that direction. Even you could say Eye in the Sky, you know, kind of what they were doing there. My favorite Alan Parsons record, kind of going in that direction. You know, there's just one of those bands that just kind of embraced like synthesizers and the new wave scene and the new wave thing. Even on iRobot, kind of got a bit of that. So yeah, Alan Parsons definitely has to be in the conversation of like when they went new wave. Actually, one I don't have a copy of that I want to mention is Gentle Giant, The Missing Piece. Don't have a good copy of this album to show, so I'm just going to point up to it. Gentle Giant, great progressive rock band. Very underrated band. Really not for everybody though. But this was their attempt to kind of be for everybody because they had a really hard time really breaking through. So this was their kind of answer to like, hey, let's get on the new wave thing, see if we can get a hit. And they even did a song called Bet You Thought We Couldn't Do It, which is like kind of saying, hey, look, it's our attempt at having a hit. Really fun song, definitely got a punk energy to it.
I bet you thought we couldn't do it.
And they're trying to do things. I mean, there's some great tunes on this. Very underrated album. Kind of a sleeper album in the Gentle Giant discography. I really dig it. Not one of my personal favorite Gentle Giant records, but it is a great, fantastic album. So you gotta mention it because this was like one of their kind of last hurrahs to like, you know, let's see if we can get a hit. Kind of worked out for them. Did okay. I mean, 2 Weeks in Spain was another one that kind of has a new wave feel.
2 weeks in Spain's not enough.
Derek Schulman's like dancing all around. There's that great concert on here of like Derek Schulman just tearing it up. What a showman that guy was. What a great front man. So yeah, Gentle Giant, The Missing Piece. How about Neil Young? Yeah, Canada's own Neil Young. Oh, Mimi. That's the town he's from. I've been to Old Mimi. They love Neil Young there. But yeah, this is his new wave album, Trans, from 1982. You know what? I'm gonna say this might be controversial. This is my favorite Neil Young album. I dig Neil Young. It's kind of like, you know, you kind of have to be, if you're Canadian, you got to be a fan of Neil Young. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of Neil Young I really like, but I don't know. This is my favorite Neil Young album, just because I just love how experimental it is, and it's kind of got definitely like a kind of, I mean, he's been called like kind of an early influence on punk, an early influence on like definitely grunge, but he's definitely got, it's just an album of just such a big F-U to, which definitely has a punk energy to it of like, I'm just gonna do this record. I don't care. Like, it's just all like experimenting with synthesizers. He sings through a vocoder for like almost the entire album. So he's got like what they call auto tune now, but it's like it's a vocoder. It's a voice box. It makes his voice sound like a robot. It's so I dig it. I mean, it's like Transformer Man. I love that. Computer Cowboy. Sample and Hold. I mean, this is like experimental, out there, weird Neil Young. I dig it. Little Thing Called Love, which is one of my favorite Neil Young songs, is like the only kind of traditional track, and even got radio play on this record. But nothing else from this really did anything, because it was like, what the hell is this? What is he doing? But that's what I love about this album, is that it's just like Neil Young, just kind of a big F-U. I want to put out this album, and that's what we're doing. We're going on the new wave thing, and I don't care if you like it. So dig that. I want to include this one. This is kind of, I don't know what else to call this, but I really want to talk about this one. Randy Newman, Born Again. This was kind of him getting on the new wave thing. This is 1979. New wave is kind of, or punk is kind of morphing into new wave. He was satirizing rock music becoming very commercial. That's why he's wearing Kiss makeup on the back, making fun of Gene Simmons and the commercialization of rock music. Randy Newman, great songwriter, and he just has so many, I mean, just a great satirist, great humorist. Gotta love Randy Newman from that. But this record, I mean, this has always kind of been my favorite Randy Newman record, because it's just like, I don't know what else to call this other than new wave, because it's him kind of getting on that thing. And the song Pants, I mean, this got me into this record. I mean, such a great tune. If you listen, I mean, that intro is so great. The keyboard intro on there. Yeah. Some deep meaning to that song. But yeah, it's so good. I mean, like, I don't know what else, I mean, it's described, if you go to like the Wikipedia on this, it says rock avant-garde pop is what this is called. Like, I don't know. I would call it new wave. This is new wave. This is a new wave Randy Newman. And he's having some fun on this record. And I dig this one. I just wanted to include it because, like, when else am I going to get to talk about it? Yeah. Randy Newman, Born Again. And this was a big one when it came out. Billy Joel, Glass Houses. This kind of got a lot of criticism because, like, what, this doesn't sound like Billy Joel. This is not Honesty. This is not the Piano Man. Who is this guy? What's he trying to do sounding like this? I mean, definitely got some new wave-ish kind of stuff on here. You May Be Right. Sometimes a Fantasy. Don't Ask Me. Actually, Don't Ask Me Why is about the most traditional sounding Billy Joel, I think, on here. Still Rock and Roll to Me. It's like his commentary on what was happening with new wave music.
Next phase, new wave.
That was what it was supposed to be. It's still rock and roll to me. Call it whatever you want. It's still rock and roll to me. That's what he was trying to do. All for Lena. Yeah. Sleeping with the Television On. I mean, there's some stuff. And this album was massive. You couldn't escape this record. I mean, this was all over the place. Everybody had a copy of this in the 80s. I found this probably because somebody who had Burnout on it. So I got it. I got it as a used. Obviously, you know, this is before I was even born. But big Billy Joel fan. And really, this I think is my favorite Billy Joel album, just because, I mean, it's more rockin'. You know, there's just not every song on this is great. And he's even wearing the skinny tie on the back there, kind of looking new wave, although this is kind of a classic Billy Joel look. And, you know, we gotta say, just we're talking about Billy Joel, hopefully the dude gets better. He's had to cancel a whole bunch of concerts. I mean, you know, best wishes to Billy Joel and his current health problems. You know, it's hard. I mean, I'm get personal here, but, you know, start kind of dealing with it in your own life. And, yeah, it's tough. Make the best of the times you still got, you know. And for Billy Joel, if that means, you know, taking time off the road, kind of cooling it a little bit, you know, got to do what's best for you. So yeah, I just want to say that I'm talking about Billy Joel. Best wishes to him. Such a great, I love Billy Joel. A few that I don't have copies of, I definitely want to mention. New honorable mentions here. George Harrison, Gone Troppo. He got on the new wave train. Yeah, strange album. Did my George Harrison album ranking. That was like really at the bottom, just because, like, yeah, experimental, not bad, but like, wow. Cher, everybody. The album I Paralyze, not bad. I mean, not one of my favorite Cher records, but still, like, it's not bad. It's okay. Also, Linda Ronstadt got on the new wave thing with the album Mad Love. Yeah. Again, like, she's more kind of like just like the one song, and the rest of it kind of just sounds like, you know, what you'd expect. But they all kind of at least did a song that was in that direction of new wave, just to like, okay, that's for the radio, let's see if that blows up, get some attention, and then, you know, gotta get that hit. And that's kind of what happened with a lot of these bands getting on the new wave train, was just to have that breakthrough. And then they do a video, they got on MTV. So, because like, MTV was so big, so if you didn't embrace it, he was like, I don't want to do videos, there's just all commercialization. They all kind of had to do it because you needed to break through. That was the new radio. MTV was the new radio, and you got to have that exposure. And it's like, this is what the kids are listening to now. This is how the kids are consuming their music. And at least there was a defined thing, because now, I mean, it's just a disaster. I mean, nobody kind of goes in any direction. I mean, it's just kind of like, okay, I'm over here, you're over here, we might meet in the middle, but, you know, like, it's so fragmented, so everybody's kind of doing a little bit of everything, and nobody's really breaking out. But for a time in the 80s, new wave was the thing that everybody got onto, because you were almost kind of guaranteed to get somewhat of a hit because of that pop element to new wave. That was a big spit I just did right there. So there you go. Those are some artists that I want to talk about here that went new wave and kind of tried that out. Talk a lot about new wave here, but yeah. So if you're a fan of any of these artists, if you're a fan of new wave, I hope you enjoyed this. That's it for this week. Until we meet again, this is Brett Strong saying good journey.